Okay. Yeah, I think we will be able to start now. So thank you everyone for joining. My name is Rashid Arondo. I'm part of a team called Customer Security and Trust. And more specifically, I'm a principal security advisor at ServiceNow and been in ServiceNow for about 8 years. And I have with me Sebastian.
Yes, thank you, Rashid. Yes, as Rashid, I'm part of ServiceNow Office of the CISO in ServiceNow, and then I joined ServiceNow Office of the CISO in 22, following 25-year career in computing networks, cybersecurity.
Very good. Yes, and we are part of a team who in Europe who are covering discussion with customers, partners who wants to understand how we do security at service. Now, today's topic is about what you need to know to secure your ServiceNow instances. So some safe harbor notice first. So we may have some forward-looking statements. So don't base your purchase decision based on this presentation. This is a part of a series of webinars that we do about the ServiceNow instances. This today is about security. There are other topics, so we invite you to look at the schedule if you're interested to know more about using the best of your ServiceNow instance. Some housekeeping. So please actually use the Q&A to ask your question during the presentation. One of us may be able to answer it when we're not presenting, and we'll answer them at the end of a presentation. So ask all your questions in the Q&A. We'll record the presentation and we'll share it on the ServiceNow community. And please, to help us improve, take time to fill the survey at the end of the presentation. Thank you. What we want to discuss today. So we want to make sure you know more about how to secure ServiceNow instance. I don't need to remind everyone that security is a priority or important topic. That's why we're here. So what I want you to take out of this webinar is we want you to learn more about how to secure ServiceNow instance. And also, meanwhile, as you learn, you see all the different topics we cover, you will be able to understand where you are in your ServiceNow security journey, because it's a journey, right? So we don't want, I don't think we have people who from the beginning are, as best secure as they can. The goal here is to understand where you are and where you want to go based on the ServiceNow security capabilities. Third point we want you to take out of this presentation is you understand the resources that are available to you, so you can continue after this presentation to learn and secure your ServiceNow instance. So that's the main outcome of today. If you join, that's what you're gonna talk about today, and hopefully you're gonna take out this knowledge today. First, please, I want to let's start by this poll question. What is your level of confidence in securing a ServiceNow instance? So are you extremely confident, somewhat confident, you don't know, you're neutral, you're between, not very confident, or you have no idea where to begin? So yeah, so okay, so we have people who really know about this. So we expect, we also have people, of course, who have no idea where to begin. So good, so we have a spread of people, so which is good. So we have people who may have some very good questions. So so okay, thank you for answering. Let's continue. Let's start by the basic. So when we say an instance, what do we mean by an instance? Because as you know, ServiceNow architecture is maybe different from other cloud providers. So let's start by that.
Yes, okay. So let's, before starting to discuss about advanced security capabilities, let's pause a moment to consider the basis, in fact. So ServiceNow operates using a single tenant architecture, meaning that each customer gets their own copy of multiple copies of the Know platform running in the cloud. And each of these copy, the instance is known at the instance to deliver the platform, ServiceNow platform. So now regarding moving to how ServiceNow delivers the cloud services, that means on the instance, we operate a paired data center hosting model in which all your production instances are replicated across a primary and secondary data center in the customer chosen region. In this model, your production instances are kept in sync using asynchronous database replication. So that means it's active at the database level. In the event of disruption, ServiceNow initiates a failover process which redirects all traffic transparently to the secondary data center. We refer to this as our advanced high availability architecture. This results in a logical single tenancy model whereby all customers' data is isolated from each other, and it's impossible for your information to commingle with that of any other customer. With other words, that means each customer or each instance of each customer is based on a dedicated virtual machine at the database level. So next slide regarding the physical security. So our ServiceNow his own cloud, so in cloud infrastructure, cloud hardware is in fact hosted within co-location data center operated by top tier provider like Equinix, Vantage, and Digital Realty. Those operators provide ServiceNow with a secure and reliable space to operate in. The data center are highly secure facility with a 24/7 security guards, CCTV, multiple level of entry controls, and of course, strict procedure for physically entering in the facility. And ServiceNow data center are highly available facilities with redundant network, electrical, and mechanical system. This feature a hardened exterior perimeter with definite depths provided by various access control boundaries, such as fences, bollards, and man traps, which within each data center, all ServiceNow equipment is stored in one or more dedicated anonymous cage space or private suites. So dedicated room dedicated to ServiceNow. The details of individual data center may vary slightly. However, all facilities are similar operating characteristic and the same level of security, of course. So in the next slide, just to show you in fact, the list of the data center we are so in all the world in each region. Also to, of course, comply with the local regulation. And ServiceNow provide availability of 99.8% so commitment in the contract. So before to start, and I refresh it to continue, but just to show you the summary of what we provide as all the security capabilities. So on the bottom lines, the platform security controls, authentication and identity security monitoring, data privacy, are all the capability we provide out of the box as a standard on the platform. And at the top, the upper line, the ServiceNow Vault bundle is all our optional capability. So I hand over to Rashid now.
Thank you, Sebastian. Yes, so as Sebastian introduced here, so with a previous slide, and I put it back just for reminders right here. So plenty of capabilities at your hands based on your maturity, based on your risk appetite, based on your own company requirements, regulation landscape, you're going to use them, right? So we have a bunch of capabilities we're going to review today, and see, you can actually evaluate if you are ready to use them or not. So yes, it's a journey, like I said, and we're going to go through the main journey of the journey, and we're going to see three main areas, which are the crawl, walk, and run model, right? So let's start by the crawl model. So where we're going to have a basic about what you need to know about how to secure your instance. So what you need to know first, of course, is we have a dedicated team to help customers manage their security journey. So no matter where you are, we're here to help you. So first, starting by maintaining websites, the Trust website, which is a public one on ServiceNow.com, you're gonna find actually documentation that you can download, that we're gonna explain how we do security at ServiceNow in a little bit more detail. You're gonna be able to see our list of certification, etc. So really the basic about how we do security. We introduced a new actually portal to keep customer, or actually even people who are looking to know about ServiceNow security, let's say advisories or news. You know, it's regularly updated by our security team. It's with trust.servicenow.com. So I invite you to also look at that one. So two public websites with no authentication needed to learn about security at ServiceNow and security capabilities. Here on the left, here on the middle here, once you are a customer, or even I think where there are some, I'm sure there are some cases where a prospect can have access, is the Trust Center, where we are putting access to you in that portal, all our internal security SOPs, third-party audit reports will be there. Yeah, and pen test reports as well. I mean, all documents related to security, privacy, AI security as well will be in that Trust Center portal. That's where for customers who really want to deep dive on our security before or after they are a customer. And for partner, similar things, we have a dedicated partner portals to give access to those same documents. So it starts by knowing those sites if you're looking for anything about security. So here's a screenshot of a core compliance portal. Like I said, that's where you're going to find certification, attestation, reports, internal SOPs. So that's going to be here. You can see what it looks like once you connect. And yeah, it's a self-serve. You're going to go there and be able to download those documentation yourself. Also, in that same repository, maybe something interesting is we have published like more than 1,000, or I think maybe 1,600 list of pre-filled question and answer. Like we may have some specific questions about how we do security. And with the years of experience, we have compiled a list of those Q&A in that repository. So one thing that we really want you to remember today, and you will see later that we have tools to help you navigate this world about security best practice, right? So ServiceNow is responsible, of course, to maintain this best practice, and but you will, as due to the architecture, only you can go and set up best practices on your instance, right? So yes, there are documentation, and invite you to look at them. Here's the link. So if you have to remember one thing of today is really to that security best practice that we want you to follow to secure your instance. We have introduced tools in the instance to help you track those best practices, but good to also read it first and to be able to plan this and remind you about regularly, because it gets updated regularly, and help you to follow our best recommendation about how to secure your instance. Make sure you review it regularly, bookmark that KB. Of course, you have, like I said, I'm repeating myself, but you're gonna find these best practice in the instance itself. We're gonna see later, but it starts by looking at the documentation. So please go and check the security ServiceNow best practice if you haven't done so. If you've done so, we update it regularly. Thank you. Basics, when you work on software, it's patch and upgrade. Same thing with ServiceNow. The particularity here is you have to finally do it. We have a lot of automation and to help you do that, as you probably already know, but you will have to maintain it. You have to look at the release note, see what changed, apply the patch, apply the upgrade, test it, and put it in production, right? As you know, or not, but we maintain N-1. So if you have a current version, you don't want to upgrade, you can upgrade until the next one gets changed, right? And we do 2 releases per year. But of course, there is a monthly patch. Of course, sometimes the patch includes security patch. So please, like any software that you maintain in your organization, keep track of patch release at ServiceNow. That's also as important to help you on your security journey. So yeah, let me use the opportunity here to remind you to fill the security contacts in the Now Support portal. Put more than one person. You can actually put a mailing list. Maybe it's actually recommended. But we're going to contact when we see anything suspicious going on your instance. When we see any security related item we want to send to your security team, but gonna use them to secure your instance or even your organization. Maybe some intelligence that we're gonna have on your instance that we're gonna share with your security team. Please, important to remind you here to feed it correctly and update it if it's not. So yeah, so please look at the security contact to put the right contact here, there. Good. So we talk about the basics about documentation mainly, right? So let's go a little bit further now about what you need to do to secure your instance. When you go in the cloud, it's always a shared responsibility in terms of security, right? It's the same with ServiceNow. It's the same for any cloud provider. When you use the instance, you can see the table here. I invite you to look at it, make sure that you are taking care of your responsibilities, starting by, as you can see here, first line, securing the secure configuration of instance is 100% under customer responsibilities. So they have to make sure they plan for it at the beginning, which is usually the case, right? But also regularly, right? As you know, there is every day new type of attacks, new type of vulnerabilities, new settings, new features that may introduce weaknesses. It's important to regularly look at your configuration, the secure configuration of your instance. But authentication or authorization, yes, 100%. Customer is responsible to decide who accesses the instance. And once they have access to the instance, what the user can do in the instance. 100% under customer control. We have tools to help you do that, but you have to do it yourself according to your own needs. So just to say that this shared responsibility model needs to be reviewed and understand to make sure that you are doing your part or your customer are doing your part. So make sure you review it. We're here to help you and discuss it anytime. So here's a slide that it's also interesting to understand. When you talk about securing your instance, about who, like the slide before, about who's supposed to do what. So first, there are what we call the invisible. This is like ServiceNow responsibilities, 100%. So that's why you came to ServiceNow, is to actually subcontract all this infrastructure. So we are responsible for the infrastructure of it. So part of infrastructure that we secure is to maintain a business continuity, right? Make sure it's always up and running. That's why we have 2 data centers. We replicate your instance in 2 data centers, like Sebastian said before. We maintain the security of the infrastructure. We make sure we update as well. We do vulnerability management of infrastructure. We monitor it. We use a secure software development lifecycle. So we develop the software that we deliver to you in a secure manner. We run third-party auditor to come to auditors. So that's the invisible that you don't see, but we do. Then when you subscribe to ServiceNow, the instance comes out of the box, but they are configurables out of the box for free. That's available for you. There is nothing to buy more, but plenty of security features that are up to you to configure. right? So it's part of the instance. It's there. You can see here, like I said before, how we access the instance, the restriction you want to do on the type of data. We have no idea what type of data you store in ServiceNow, right? So it's up to you, but you know your data, know the sensitivity of the data, and know who can access what. You have login capabilities, but we don't look at the application log for you. So you have to go and look at what is, look at the logs, analyze it. Only you will know what is suspicious. The hardening of instance, again, it's up to you. The use of encryption or not, and how you'll see later the encryption capabilities, and we have. It's up to you to decide to use them or not, right? And once you have configured the basics of securing your instance, you have what we call the enhanceable. For organizations that are more stringent security requirements, that you need to purchase most of the time. And we have both options available for you. We're going to describe them quickly later. But this is how the view that you need to look at as well is. If you need to understand the invisible, we're here for that. You have configurable of your instance. It's up to you to do it. You have to do it. It's not an option. And then if you have more stringent requirement, we have option for that. We're going to look at them later. You can see the title here, give some IDs, and we're going to look at them later. So why we talking about that? And here you can see on the screen the type of risk, the type of let's say vulnerability that can happen if you're not following best practices. People will be able to inject a code in your application. You're going to have unauthorized people accessing your data, and people will be able to upload malware or malicious file in your instance. That type of risk we have seen by customer not following best practices, right? So just to put you in perspective, understand the risk that's going on for ServiceNow when you're not following best practice, or for any cloud provider actually. You're going to see later that most of the hack that happen on cloud are due to misconfiguration. Oh, yeah. So next is we're going to talk about Security Center. First, a poll question. What is your experience with ServiceNow Security Center? But I can see that, yeah, I don't think we have run the poll in the right manner. Looks like the old question was, if you can answer only the number 2 question, where do you feel, no, it's, sorry, no, that is one. What is the one with, yeah, Security Center is gone. So sorry. So let's go to the next one. It's not in the poll, so you don't have to answer. Sorry. Yeah, I'll let Sebastian talk to you about this very important tool that you have at your disposition for free.
Yes, thanks, Rashid. So, as Rashid said, in the ServiceNow responsibility matrix, the customers are responsible of the secure configuration of the platform and the instances. And the good news is that ServiceNow provide a tool to do that. It's the ServiceNow Security Center. And the ServiceNow Security Center, it's not only a tool giving advice and information. It's a complete solution to manage the security of your instances. That means you have at the first level a governance part who is called best practices, and the best practices, it's 36 point, very important at a governance level, just to, for example, to implement the monitoring of logs, to implement multi-factor authentication, and to implement things. So it can be organizational things, it can be technical capabilities, but it's at a governance level. So very important part. And after that, there is other parts like the security hardening and the security scanner. So that means inside the ServiceNow Center, you have the capability to check automatically the configuration of the instance. Rashid also talk about, the hardening guide. So it's a documentation, but if you want to check automatically if your instances are in fact configured, securely configured, it's automatically done with the security scanner by the security center, and the result is a score, a global score, and also the list of, in fact, the best practices implemented, and also the list of best practices not implemented. And in the security center, there is also more information, documentation, and for example, the critical updates, learning part. And the last part is the security metrics. So security metrics is also very important because, we will just talk about that later, but, regarding the logs, you don't have the time also, and it's not efficient to check the logs to know if something happened on the platform, on the instances. So that's why on the security metrics part, you have KPIs, widget, capability to set up a threshold for notification, and you can define, for example, a threshold to receive a notification if there is an important number of failed authentication or other security events. So the security center is a full tool and full solution to manage all the security on your ServiceNow instances. So we can switch to continue with the login and monitoring part. We just discussed a little bit in the security center, because in the security center, there is this monitoring capability. But of course, there is also, the traditional logs and event. So when we speak about logs, there is two things, two different topics. The first is the logs managed by the customers. And that means inside each instance, you have logs, and very detailed logs with all the transactions, user login and user action, and so on. So it's available on each instance, and you have the full control to use this log and export the logs. So by default, the retention is around 50 days, but of course you can increase that by setting the configuration, or export the logs, and we provide, for example, a plugin to connect the ServiceNow instances directly to your SIEM. So it's called the log export service capability. And it can be interesting if you would like to export the logs in real time, or quite real time, to your SIEM. So it's the first part. The second part is ServiceNow manage logs. So of course, internally we have SIEM, and to manage and store and secure all the logs coming from infrastructure. So that means all the servers and the network and so on. So we use that, of course, to monitor all the malicious activity against ServiceNow and against the cloud, and to be sure to identify if there is something malicious and important. Okay, let's continue with the access control part. So access control is very important to understand, and as Rashid said about also the shared responsibility matrix. In the ServiceNow model, in fact, the access control and authentication and authorization is also fully on customer responsibility. It's not true for all the cloud provider and cloud models, but it's the case on the ServiceNow model. So that means you have the complete access and capabilities to manage the authentication of users. So that means it can be done by externally by an IDP with LDAP, SAML, OpenID Connect, and so on. So that means you just configure that on the instances and to say, okay, my user use, for example, the OpenID Connect to connect to the instance and to the software. So that means, in fact, the credentials are not stored locally in the instances. So it's the first, and it's what our customer used mainly for the final users. Of course, it's possible to use the local capabilities to authenticate users. It's mainly used for admin accounts or technical accounts or service accounts, more mainly. So in that case, the credentials are stored and encrypted, and of course, protected securely stored on the instance. So it's two ways and two capabilities, two possibilities. And of course, the authorization part is based on role and also attributes. We had this capability last year, so now it's possible also to use the ABAC and not only the RBAC to define and set up authorization and roles and capabilities for users. So it's based on ACL capabilities, and of course you can restrict and audit all the rights and capabilities offered for users. So next, the multi-factor authentication. So it's an important point because previously, before our Yokohama release, ServiceNow recommended to use and activate some multi-factor authentication. Of course, it's only for local account, because if you use a provider, an external provider, an external IDP, of course, this capability is provided by the IDP. But if you use the local authentication on the ServiceNow instance before Yokohama, it's a recommendation. And now, starting with Yokohama release, now it's mandatory. So you have to activate the MFA for all the local accounts for internal user. It's not the case for external user. For example, if you have customers or partners and who have an account on the instances, in that case, the MFA is not mandatory. So I let Rashid to continue. Thanks.
Yes, thank you, Sebastian. Good. So we talk about a few basics. Let's continue now with out-of-the-box capabilities. One of them being what we call, so you have the classical authentication. We just mentioned it. Now you have the adaptive one, so which means that we're going to use, you can specify some specific context to either not allow it or enforce MFA for your user. So if you use single sign-on, if you have a user, for example, which is outside you decide that when it's inside the organization, no MFA. When that same user is traveling, we're going to request an MFA, right? That's the typical scenario. You may actually have other policies, other conditions that you can apply to deny or approve access based on external factors and context. Okay, that's out of a box for you to use, again, to help you on your security journey. On the access, role-based access control that Sebastian mentioned, we have added an additional layer. As you know, security is about layers. And this is the deny unless ACL. So when you have a specific field, the deny unless ACLs will take priorities against allow if ACLs, right? So it's help prevent, yes, accidental exposure of records or field. If it can happen that you allow to more than necessary and or haven't put the right ACLs. or you're not doing it yet. So this will help to simplify your access right to a specific field. So we'll have an exclusion in one location. You can see here the graph. There are videos to help you understand it more and see how it can apply to you. Invite you to look at it. It's again, all the capabilities that we're adding are based on history of data leakage, data issues at customers. So this is a good capabilities to reduce or eliminate even your different data leakage based on issues on the role-based access control. So invite you to look at these new capabilities that actually released last year, and which is out of the box. So for now, just to make sure, all the features we discussed are out of the box for free, and there's no additional cost to use them. Data privacy, yes. So we have, if you remember, we had a sensitive data handling plugin before. We moved now with a new release. So you are able to mask sensitive data going to Now Assist. And now we make the very quick jump to Now Assist without introduction, but that's, as you know, for any of your products you're using with ServiceNow, you may now start to use Now Assist for all your generative AI or AI at ServiceNow. You have the capabilities to filter what data get into Now Assist, right? So it's part of the release. We have by default some already set up filtering, but you may have more or different based on your organization needs. Please look at that as well. It's now in the data privacy module, where you can mask sensitive data get into Now Assist. Okay, invite you to look at it in details as well. If you are using ServiceNow email, again, by default, there's nothing set up. So if you're using ServiceNow email, it's up to you to decide what kind of security you want to do to avoid getting malwares into your organization or reduce spam by using those features, right? So I invite you to look at them. There are a few that you can see in the screen. You can restrict by file type, restrict domains you can send or receive emails, filtering emails, and different email security filters, the SPF, DKIM, and DMARC. The other option actually is to use your own email system, right? Which already include security, right? So that's something actually maybe recommended because you already have an email system going on. We've already set up security and filtering, etc. So you can also use your own email setup, not use ServiceNow email. But if you use ServiceNow email, you have security features at your disposition for free. Okay, so we covered the crawl, the walk journey. Now let's get into the more advanced requirements that you may have, which is the run section. You're going to see the advanced security features, encryption, and vault, which is our vault. It's not a vault, it's the name of our bundle security features. You're going to see penetration testing as well that you can do as a customer. It's not only us doing it. So let's talk about that more. And before, some tools at your disposition that I want to remind you here as we talk is Access Analyzer. We talk a lot about role-based access control and misconfiguration that can happen or misconfiguration. We have a tool to help you see if you have put the right access to the right people. So it's free. So you use it. You can compare role between users and see if it is the right role that you are expecting. Okay, make sure you use the Access Analyzer to analyze your role-based access control setup. Out of the box, as I told you, ServiceNow is data agnostic, but only you know the type of data you have. You have the capability to classify your data for free, right? You can classify it based on the classification. You can apply different encryption if you want to, or proactively put some security on those sensitive data. And actually, now that I'm thinking about it, in the security center, Once you classify the data, the security center will track automatically all sensitive data which are exported out of the instance, right? So it's a neat feature because it's done automatically. Once you classify, Security Center will see who actually exported these sensitive data out of the instance automatically for you. Okay, so interesting feature if you are worried about the data leakage, if you have sensitive data, start by that. Yes. Yes, of course, it gives you a whole dashboard about tracking those sensitive data, where they are, the number, the type. So all the nice tracking dashboard that you know with ServiceNow. By default, yes, you have some level of encryption capabilities as well. You can actually, what we call it, now it's the name changed to field level encryption starter, when you can decide what field you want to encrypt or decrypt and see, you can decide who can decrypt that specific field. There are some impacts if you use that free out-of-the-box encryption. They are impacted. If you use the enterprise version, there are no impact. Yeah, but if you use the free version, there are some impact, and they are limited. You can create up to 5 module access policies only with a field encryption starter. And that's why for our more stringent security customers, we introduced Vault, which actually a bundle of 5 security features. But actually now I think some of them you can buy them one by one. Let's go and quickly to describe them. So you have the platform encryption, data privacy module, zero trust access, the log export service, and the code signing. So let me quickly describe the first one, platform encryption. It's a bundle that gives you access to all our encryption capabilities, starting by the encryption of all the database, right? So we're going to automatically encrypt all the database. On top of that, you will have access to the capability to encrypt at the field layer, right? And for both of the options, you can upload your own key. So why 2 types of encryption? One is to mitigate the risk of, let's say some hacker or some bad actors getting into that ServiceNow data centers, finding your database will be encrypted. Simple risk scenario. We add the column or field level encryption enterprise will mitigate the risk of actually a ServiceNow support personnel or your own admin getting to access to that data because they are not in the role that are supposed to decrypt that data, then they won't be able to see that specific field. All right, so 2 types of risk in the same bundle for you to use. One, there is nothing to do. We encrypt the database. One, the field level encryption enterprise. Yes, you have to decide which field you want to encrypt or decrypt, who can decrypt it, in which condition, and yeah. So it's all. If you want to use your own key as well, so all work that you need to do, but it's the same bundle for you. It's a paid option or part of Vault subscription. Yes. The data privacy module. So remember, we talked about data classification, which is free. And then the data privacy module, like what it does is actually help you to, when it's classified, you can anonymize those data and respect all your privacy requirements. Like if you go for the right to be forgotten, a simple user, it's going to be easy for you when it's classified to decide, like, please anonymize all that user personal data, and it's going to be done in few clicks, right? Or another scenario is when you clone data from production to a test instance, you're going to easily anonymize all your sensitive data with the data privacy module. So again, if you are concerned about privacy, that's maybe a module that will be for you. Zero trust access. So that's another part of Vault. Remember we talked about adaptive authentication? Now with zero trust access, we are adding what you can see in red here, more context and actually more like fine-tuned capabilities. Like based on different context or attributes, you can actually reduce the access instead of deny or full access or asking for MFA. You're going to be able to reduce the access of that user, right? So if he's in a different country, you don't want maybe that user to access specific data or even write to a specific field, for example. So give you full flexibility about what you want to do about that user access to your instance, right? Authentication enhancement, yes, I think, yeah, Sebastian mentioned it. From now on, yes, we have enforced MFA for all local logins. So, but Sebastian mentioned it before, so I'm not gonna discuss more about this one now. Yes, so what we are discussing today is we are giving you more control across different layers about the data access, so specific rules that may change based on different risk and context. Understanding your data, so we have privacy features, can classify. Actually, you have option to discover them because you may not, it's maybe not easy to know and track all the sensitive data. We have capabilities to discover and those sensitive data, then classify those sensitive data, and then anonymize them. And then we have layers to defend your data by encrypting sensitive data at rest, right? So we talk about encryption at rest here. We're going to be able to encrypt them and manage those encryption yourself. So all this capability will give you more control about it. So if you have questions, please ask them on the Q&A, and we'll answer them just in a few minutes or very soon. If you want to learn more about all these advanced capabilities, here I have a link. It's called ServiceNow Vault. You have demo, you have documentation, and we can actually meet you and your team to discuss them more in details, of course. One thing I didn't mention at the end of the day, you as a customer or partner can do your own pen test. Yes, we do our own. We have a third-party pen test that we hire. We hire a third party to do pen test, and you have access to the third-party reports, right? That's fine. But you can do your own. As a customer, you can come and do your own pen testing of your instance to make sure that you know it is as secure as you want to be, or even based on as you can based on and make other third party as well. Make sure that the instance behave as you expect, right? So anyway, just to say that you can do your own penetration testing on the instance, and all our customers are allowed to do them for free, which will help at the end to increase ServiceNow instance security as well. I think we're going to skip the poll because we had some issue. Yeah, I think we're coming up to the end of the presentation where we want you now to take action. So make sure that you identify where you are in your security journey, right? Are you in the crawl, walk, run? And go and take action to secure your instance. Review the shared security model. Definitively use the Security Center. We have actually dedicated webinars on Security Center. I invite you to assist them and as well review the videos and documentation about it. Go right now on your instance, check your hardening score, for example. And yeah, go and install it. Actually, it's by default now in the new instance, but it's now an app in the instance. You have to install it if you are it's not there yet, and use it. And leverage available resources that we communicate to you through here, the best practice guide, the public website, all available for you. So please go on and do this after this call. Thank you. And otherwise, please check the other webinars, one of them being the Security Center one that we do. I think we do at least one per quarter, so please check it. Security Center is a must in your list of tool to use regularly at ServiceNow. Okay, so last time, no question? Okay, then we're gonna hand up and the presentation, and gonna thank you very much for your participation and listen to us, Sebastian and I. Thank you, everyone. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.